Hello, everyone, and welcome back. So, today we are going to keep working on our city builder game, and the first thing I want to implement is food as a new resource. Next up, we have a new building type, storage, and we are going to implement this so that the citizens know where to look for certain items later on. Then we are going to expand on the houses. We are going to increase the scale of the houses. We are going to let citizens actually move into the houses. And then we are going to have a local food storage. Then we are going to turn on and off dev mode. If we want to display certain values from instances, then we can turn this on. And the same with blueprint mode on and off. And I want to keep that a little bit of a secret. Finally, I promised a viewer to share the project file. But let's get started by simply showcasing the current version of the game. This is where we are now. Very simple. Place town center down. We place it down. All these numbers, I want to make sure they are not displayed when you have dev mode off, but you can display them with it on. Then we're going to place 4 houses. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see what happens now. They choose the houses that are the closest to them. Now they're going to build the houses. And I am actually quite sad that I failed to display this properly, because this is actually super cool. And now they are back to 0, which is idle. But that's super cool. So what we will do first is open our log file. What we can do is update this, so we can make a new one called done. Okay, so there we go. So I'm just gonna copy in our to-do list here. The first thing we want to do is implement a new variable, a new resource called food. So we are going to go into our object town center and have a new resource called food. And it will be also 50 for now. For now, it will just do nothing, but that is effectively the first thing of our checklist. Then we are going to implement a storage type, which is basically what this will be. But what we can do is we can create a new object, building storage. And before I do anything else, I wanted to organize a little bit over here. So we're going to create 2 new directories, 2 new folders, call them sprites and objects. Put in all the sprites. And then make a group, call it objects. But let's see here, so we can copy a little bit of these in here. Just these 2 effectively for now. There we go. And we will set both of these to 0, okay? And then what we will do then is go back into the town center and make it building storage. Event inherited for good order's sake. So the next thing we will do is scale the house up by a factor of 2, okay? There we go. And we are going to do that with all of these house related. Okay. Then we go into the game controls, which is in the user interface. We have to double these to have 16 by 16 on each side from the center. Now we're gonna build some houses, but they are significantly larger. So they are focusing on delivering wood first until there is no one left with wood. Then they go build the houses. Okay. Another cute little thing I want to add, because I want to make something a bit prettier every time, is I want to draw a little shadow on these citizens. But first, dev mode. And we can do this in here. We can just say, and then we can make an event here where we say if keyboard check pressed tab, and then we can say dev mode is equal to the opposite of what it is now. Yeah, I don't know if this is the best way to do it. Then we can go back to the citizen, say here if the global dev mode, then we draw those numbers, and then we want to draw that shadow like I talked about. So what we are going to do is just make a shadow. We can try and see if this looks good at all. Ta-da! So the next task is to make citizens move in to the houses. For each citizen, we can say here home, and then we can go in here and say else if home is equal to -1. And then we can find an empty house. So the question could be, should the citizens do this by themselves? Should we have a different handling mechanism for this? And I think in order to keep everything clean, I would like to have a different object that handles this. Okay, so we can call it control residency, like this. We can actually just look through a list of all families. We can look at the number of all the families that exist right now. Fam is equal to, so if fam dot home is equal to -1. Let's try like this. Then I have an idea for the houses. Then we are going to add a second. Just means that somebody's home. Can indicate for us if people are actually moving in now, if this works. Oh. Yeah, it's because I also need to do it here for home. Yep. But that's okay. Let's see what they're doing. I like how it works. And then now I can click on tab as well. I forgot to mention that, but I can click on tab. And I see what they're up to. Now let's see what happens when they are done building all of these. Right, it looks like everybody has moved in somewhere. Now we can go back and say for the citizens, go home. Actually, what happens is that we will ignore this because we have handled it in a different way. Else if home is not equal to go home. And then we can just add a new task, say go home. We can go back in here. We can say else if task is equal to go home. So we need to make sure that both the citizens and the families know where their home is. I'm just gonna say here list create, and we're just gonna call this members. Then we're gonna set ds list add, and then we're just gonna put these two in here like this. Pretty sure this should work just fine. Then we can make a new event in here. We can make a user event, and we can just call this move in. Okay, for size members. So I'm pretty sure that should do the trick. So then now when the house is created, then we can say with fam, we can activate that event. What I actually want to do as well is I want to create a 5th house. So we can actually just force ourselves to build 5 houses to here. Equals to 4, we set equal to 5. But we only have 4 families, so let's see if the last one just will not have a family. And if they will go home yet. Another thing I would like to add is them carrying the wood. Okay. And then when they're going home, they're just gonna stand outside their home until they get a new task. But let's see. So they're going, they're grabbing the wood, everybody's happy. Okay, so that's annoying. Yeah, it's something to do with the states. Build house, go home. State is equal to idle, yeah? Else. Alright. That makes sense. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to add a second image to these and just say if they don't have a home, then they will only wear wife beaters. Yeah, that's cool. Just for no random reason. Just say here family. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to remove all of this. We're just going to remove it completely. I don't care. I'm not even going to save it. But we're going to go into the room. We're going to put in our control residency, okay? We're going to say create. So we're going to have an alarm that goes off every 2 seconds. We will create a couple of variables in here. Number of homeless families. And we'll set that to 4 initially. And then we'll say empty houses is equal to 0. So every time a new house is built, we will add 1 to this. So we go in here. And actually, instead of that, we will also make a list of IDs. So, and we will do the same with the other one. That's actually a great idea. So, okay, let's go here. Control residency. These will both be lists. Yeah. And then whenever a house is built, instead of this, we'll say and then we'll do the same when a family is created. Yeah. Dot. Yeah. Perfect. I hope this should just work by itself. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I know I'm jumping a little bit back and forward with what I want to do, but I'll just draw some wood when they're carrying it. Carry. Look at them go. Boom, 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 boom. See now, look. See, that's also a big problem that they are carrying something. Okay. So the thing is that I think they should go put it back. They should put back the wood. So let's see here. Prepare, build, move wood to building. So we will actually do something similar here. So say if carry is equal to 1, we will bring it back to the town center. So we can actually just copy all of this. Else if carry is larger than 0. Else if the rest. Because then it will just completely surpass all other priorities. Now we can go back in here. We can copy all of this. And we'll say, then we'll just add it back. I wonder how well that works just by default. But now see, it's gonna carry, boom, boom, boom. All of them take. Now they're gonna go back. That's cool. And then they have built it. Now they will go here. Oh, now they're actually doing it. I think it's something to do with the. Oh, look at that. That's so cool. They're being super smart. Oh, they all just grabbed it on the way. Alright, so now we can go back to the control here and then say if both the size is if they're both over 0 in size, then we simply just take the first one of each and then we put them together. And then in the end, we're going to say delete both of these. Okay, so we have houses and families. And then we'll just say, I think that's how it should work. First time I'll make it show message. Yes. Oh. Oh. Well, that's weird because the houses should not be built yet. Oh, wait a minute. I'm stupid as and bro, yeah, definitely a big mistake. Okay, cool. It just keeps. Let's just try and see it properly now. What I want to do here is actually just say, there we go. Then it should work. So let's see now. So some of them moved in now. Okay. That's cool. Oh, so some of them moved in again. And then they go home if there's no more to build, I think. I think that's how you should see this right now. Then they're gonna finish the build. Let's see now. Oh, and then some of them are going home. Cool. So now we're gonna build the rest of the house. We're gonna build 5 houses now. And that means one of them is gonna be not moved into it. That somebody else moved into that one. Nobody's gonna move into the last one, but the rest is gonna go home now. I think that's pretty cool. Next, we are going to make the citizens move food from the town center into the houses. So we will make a food sprite. It will just be some weird berries. And first we're going to define a variable for the local food stored in the houses. Then we're gonna say for the citizen, if the food is less than 10, and I made a mistake here that I'm gonna correct later where I said less than or equal to 10, but it has to be less than 10. If so, then we put in a new task called bring food home. And we're going to approach this by first replacing all the carry variables with wood carry, and then copying the wood carrying mechanism into the new food carry mechanism. So instead of moving the wood, we're just going to move food, but it's going to be the same mechanism. And I was already thinking if we should think about refactoring the code so that regardless of what you have to carry, it's the same code and the same behavior. But that will be for another time. Then I'm just going to draw the value of the local food variable to make sure that the mechanism works. Let's see. And we're just gonna skip until they have built the houses, and now they're gonna move the food in. And the first error is that they don't stop after having delivered 10 pieces of wood. So we will quickly fix that by setting an if case for the number of food. So if the food is larger than 10 now, or equal to 10, then we will set task back to none. And then you can see now that they stop after this. So lastly, in this context, I want to remove the citizens when they are in the houses, or make them invisible at least. And we do that by defining a new variable called at home for the citizens, and effectively just going to say don't draw anything if they are at home. Then we're just going to say if they are at home and they are getting a different task or a different state, then we set the at home to false again so that we can see them if they start a new task. And behind the scenes here, I'm trying to make it work, but I can't get it to work because of the error I mentioned earlier. Because the citizens do not want to go away from the bring food home task yet. And that's because the food is exactly 10. I do finally end up finding the mistake and fixing it, and then we can see it work here. Finally, I want to implement this blueprint mode, which again I want to keep a little bit of a secret, but I will let the implementation speak for itself here. And that concludes it for today. As mentioned earlier, I promised to share the project files for the game. And thank you to Kike Freaky or Kike Freaky. Thank you for requesting the project files. Thank you for the interest. I have uploaded them to GitHub. And I don't know if you can actually clone the repository. I just dumped all the project files in there, so you can at least download the files as they are. So thank you so much for participating, everyone, and I will see you guys next time.